Have you ever wondered if the reliability Lexus built its name on is starting to slip away? For years, that badge meant peace of mind and long ownership without constant worry. But things are shifting. So which modern Lexus features are quietly hurting long-term reliability and lifespan? And why are some owners choosing to avoid them now? Hi, I am Jack, and today we will be talking about 12 stupid Lexus features that destroy reliability and lifespan. Number 12, the V35A. Twin-turbo V6, the debris disaster. If Lexus built its reputation on engines that quietly outlived everything around them, why does this one suddenly feel like a gamble? I used to tell people the old Lexus V8 was the Greek god of longevity. It was the natty king. Simple, overbuilt, and almost impossible to kill if you just keep up with the basics. You bought one knowing it would still be running long after everything else around it started falling apart. That confidence was the entire reason people paid the Lexus premium in the first place. But then the new 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 showed up in the GX 550 and LX 600, and the conversation changed fast. What happens when the engine that's supposed to carry the brand forward starts getting linked to failures this early? There's a major recall tied to machining debris left inside some engines during assembly. We are talking about metal particles circulating through the system, damaging main bearings, and in some cases leading to total engine failure at extremely low mileage. That kind of issue does more than break parts. It breaks trust. And once that trust cracks, everything else starts shifting. Owners who expected a long, stable relationship with their SUV suddenly started thinking about worst-case scenarios. Dealers get cautious, buyers get nervous, trade-in conversations get uncomfortable. This is where the emotional hit really lands. If you bought a Lexus for peace of mind, what happens when you start second-guessing the engine every time a light flickers? The value of the vehicle stops feeling secure. Instead of thinking about 300,000 miles of quiet reliability, owners start thinking about the cost of a potential engine replacement and how long the vehicle will realistically last. That shift alone can change how the entire car feels to live with. It feels like finding out something you trusted completely might not be as solid as you believed. The performance is there. The quick highway merge is there. The twin-turbo response feels sharp and modern. But that extra punch comes with a trade-off. You are moving away from the slow, overbuilt longevity that defined Lexus for decades and into something more complex, more sensitive, and far less forgiving if something goes wrong. And that is the part people are reacting to. Not just the recall itself, but what it represents. A shift from engines designed to outlast the car to engines that are pushed harder, packed tighter, and built around performance targets first. When buyers start hearing about early failures, large repair costs, or uncertainty around long-term durability, the entire ownership equation changes. That one feature that looked like an upgrade on paper starts to feel like a risk once the car leaves warranty coverage. And this is where things start getting even more complicated, because not every problem comes from the engine. Some of the biggest reliability issues are hiding in the features that were meant to make the ride feel more luxurious. Number 11, height adjustable air suspension, AHC/air ride. If a suspension system is built to make the vehicle smoother and more comfortable, why does it become such a nightmare once the warranty disappears? I've seen this play out over and over again with height adjustable air suspension on LS and LX models. On paper, it sounds incredible. The car lowers itself for easier entry. It adjusts ride height automatically. It gives that smooth, floating feel that makes luxury feel like luxury. At first, it feels like a secret pump potion. Everything is controlled. Everything is refined. It makes the vehicle feel expensive in all the right ways. But the moment something small starts to fail, the entire system begins working overtime. These setups rely on air compressors, sensors, lines, and seals working perfectly together. A tiny leak, sometimes something as small as a worn O-ring, forces the compressor to keep running just to maintain ride height. Over time, that constant strain burns the compressor out. And once one part fails, the rest usually follows. That is when the real cost shows up. Replacing a full set of air struts at a Lexus dealer can climb into the thousands of dollars. Suddenly, a feature that felt like a luxury upgrade becomes a repair bill that hits harder than expected. And what does it actually look like when the system starts giving up? The vehicle begins to sag. One corner drops. Sometimes the entire rear sits low. Owners end up driving home with the SUV resting unevenly, struggling to maintain height, looking nothing like the premium machine it was meant to be. The change can happen quickly, and it changes the entire presence of the car. That is the strange twist with this feature. At the valet, when it lowers smoothly and rises back up, it looks impressive. It feels futuristic. It feels like you bought into something special. But when the system ages and the leaks start, that same feature becomes the reason the vehicle looks worn out long before the engine ever does. A $90,000 SUV can suddenly look tired and uneven just because the suspension can no longer hold itself up. And the worst part is that it does not fail all at once. It fades slowly. The compressor runs more often. The ride height takes longer to adjust. The vehicle sits slightly lower overnight. By the time the problem is obvious, the repair bill is already waiting. You go from feeling like a king behind the wheel to dealing with a vehicle that looks like it is struggling just to stay level. All because of a comfort feature that adds complexity without adding lifespan. It is one of those upgrades that feels incredible when everything is new. But once the warranty ceiling hits, it can quietly turn into one of the most expensive systems to keep alive. And now we move from the suspension and comfort systems straight into something that interferes with the mechanical heart of the car itself. Number 10, the auto start-stop cardiac arrest. If a feature is meant to save fuel and protect the environment, why are so many owners noticing wear in the very engine it's supposed to support? Lexus finally folded to emissions pressure and rolled auto start-stop across most of the lineup. On paper, it sounds smart. Shut the engine off at red lights, save a little fuel, cut emissions. But every time the engine shuts down, oil pressure drops. Then the light turns green and the engine fires back to life again and again. Over months and years, that constant restarting starts to add up. Starter motors and AGM batteries are getting pushed far beyond normal duty cycles. Some are wearing out early simply because they're being asked to handle thousands upon thousands of restarts. And for what? A tiny bump in fuel economy. It feels like a stimulant for your gas mileage that's hiding a long-term strain on the engine. A system designed to look efficient on paper while quietly adding wear where you least want it. And this is where the focus starts shifting away from the mechanical heart and into the electronic brain that now controls how the entire car feels and responds. Number 9, the 14-inch interface. If technology is supposed to make driving easier, why does removing physical controls make everything feel more fragile? Lexus used to be the natty king of ergonomics. Buttons for everything. Simple, direct, reliable. Now almost everything is buried in a massive touchscreen. Climate control, heated seats, fan speed, defrost. It looks clean. It looks futuristic. But when that system lags or freezes, basic functions become harder to access. And as these screens age, glitches start creeping in. When the panel controls half the car's comfort systems, one failure turns convenience into frustration. Once that display starts aging out of warranty, repairs are not small. You traded tactile reliability for a sleek design that feels amazing at first, then slowly turns into flavored sadness once the software starts acting up. And from the screen sitting in front of you, the problems quietly move into something you rely on every single day without even thinking about it: the doors themselves. Number 8, the E-latch, electronic door system. If a mechanical door handle has worked for a century, why replace it with electronics? Newer NX and RX models swap traditional handles for electronic door releases. It feels modern and dramatic, until the battery runs out, the software glitches, or a solenoid fails. There is a manual override, but in a stressful moment, most people forget it exists. Suddenly, something that used to be simple now depends on wiring, sensors, and software behaving perfectly. It's an edgy class clown move, flashy, dramatic, but it adds another failure point to something that never needed fixing. And from the doors you touch every day, the next weak point drops down to the wheels underneath you, where another small component quietly adds long-term cost. Number 7, direct TPMS sensors, the $800 battery death. If tire pressure monitoring is meant to make driving safer, Why does it turn into a maintenance bill later on? Lexus still uses direct pressure sensors inside the wheels. Each one runs on a small battery. Once that battery dies, the entire sensor has to be replaced, and they all tend to age around the same time. Replacing all four, plus mounting and balancing, can quickly turn into a surprisingly expensive visit for something that only tells you what your tires are doing. Other systems estimate pressure using wheel speed sensors. No batteries, no replacements. Lexus chose the route that eventually drains your wallet along with those tiny internal batteries. From the wheels beneath you, the focus shifts upward, where one of the most striking features overhead brings its own set of challenges. Ever had to deal with unexpected car maintenance costs like this? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on keeping your ride in top shape. Number 6. Panoramic sunroof seals, the interior swamp. If a panoramic roof is meant to make the cabin feel bigger and brighter, why does it become a liability over time? Those giant glass roofs look incredible. They make the cabin feel open and premium. But the drains clog, seals dry, and the tracks age under constant heat and sun. One heavy rainstorm and moisture starts creeping in. Musty smells, damp carpets, electronics exposed to water. Repairs can spiral quickly once the damage spreads. It's a dramatic luxury feature that feels amazing at first, then turns into a slow leak that quietly attacks the interior. Above your head is only part of the story. Now attention moves beneath the rear seat, where another hidden system quietly protects something far more expensive. Number 5. Hybrid battery cooling fans, the silent clogger. If hybrid systems are designed to last for years, why do some fail earlier than expected? There's a cooling fan under the rear seat in many hybrid Lexus models. Its job is simple: keep the battery temperature under control, but dust, hair, and debris build up over time. When airflow gets restricted, heat builds inside the battery pack. Overheating leads to warning lights, and in some cases, premature battery wear. A simple filter that needs occasional cleaning ends up being the difference between a healthy hybrid system and a major repair bill. That brings us outward to the cameras watching every angle around the car. Number 4. Panoramic view monitor, the blind spot. If more cameras mean better visibility, why do they become such a headache later on? Lexus packed mirrors and bumpers with small cameras for that full 360-degree view. It feels like having superpowers when parking. But those lenses live in harsh conditions: road salt, dirt, moisture. When seals weaken, moisture sneaks in. The image blurs. The system loses clarity. Replacing a single camera is not cheap. A feature meant to help you see everything eventually becomes another expensive electronic point of failure. Seeing everything around the car is one thing. What happens when the doors close behind you is another. Number 3. Soft close door motors. If gently closing a door is a small convenience, why does it become a long-term issue? These motors pull the door shut automatically, so you don't have to slam it. It feels refined. It feels expensive. But the system relies on small gears and moving parts that wear out. When they fail, the door may stop latching properly or start making unpleasant grinding noises. And repairs aren't small for what is essentially a convenience feature. You go from quiet luxury to noisy frustration, all because the car tried to replace something as simple as closing a door. Close the door, start driving, and the next change is felt in how the car responds when you turn the wheel. Number 2. Variable gear ratio steering. If steering is supposed to feel precise and predictable, why add complexity to it? This system changes how the wheels respond based on speed. It's designed to make parking easier and highway driving more stable, but it adds electronic actuators and extra layers to the steering system. When something inside that setup fails, warning lights appear and repairs become expensive. Suddenly the steering wheel doesn't feel centered, and confidence in the drive drops. You trade a natural steering feel for something more complex that can quietly age into a costly problem. But steering feel is only part of the experience. The real difference shows up in how the car rides. Number 1. Adaptive Variable Suspension, AVS. Solenoids. If adjustable suspension is meant to keep the ride smooth, why does it sometimes shorten the life of that comfort? Modern Lexus shocks use internal electronic solenoids to adjust damping in real time. Sport mode, comfort mode, everything shifts instantly. But these components can fail internally without any visible leaks. When that happens, the ride turns harsh or overly floaty. And replacing multiple electronically controlled shocks is not a small expense. The very system meant to preserve Lexus smoothness slowly becomes the reason that smoothness disappears. Which of these features would make you think twice before buying? Comment below. If you care about long-term reliability and fewer surprise repair bills, look beyond the badge and pay close attention to the features that age over time. Follow for more honest, experience-based breakdowns on what holds up, what quietly fails, and which models are truly built to last.